Some time ago, I came across two very old, yellowed Italian language texts. One of them, it was fairly easy to track down the author and the date of publication. It's called Il Libro del Destino, the Book of Destiny. And the book starts off with some very unusual diagrams, and it indicates that the book was published by an individual named Cesare Causa. And along with this one was another book that was very interesting because I couldn't figure out exactly who created it and when. The first couple pages are actually missing. The first one that shows up is page 5. And page 5 and maybe the first 200 pages of this text is actually a dictionary of terms that correlate to numbers. And as strange as that might seem, it took me some time to figure out what this was actually used for. So after a lengthy search, I determined that this particular book was also published in the 1800s, but the information within comes from much earlier sources. Some of them from the 1700s, some from the 1500s, and some extending back even further. Some of the systems within actually extend all the way back to the Zoroastrian Kabbalah. And along with that, this book contains chapters on the good and the bad days of the moon, the golden key, Sibyls' Kabbalah, and numerous other chapters. The Kabbalah itself is rooted in esoteric Judaism, and many of the teachings, such as those found in the Zohar, indicate that there is an interrelationship between numbers and lives and events. And a knowledge of that interrelationship can help people to make causal inferences. In other words, you can get a feel for what the future will bring simply from understanding the structure of numbers and how it relates to cosmology and other connections. This particular book I translated for the first time under the title Making Millions, a 500-year-old Kabbalist Guide to Conquering Chance. And the book follows closely to the original, written in Italian, and again stretching from through the 1500s to modern day, and some of the elements from it are actually a bit earlier. But the book starts off with a dream dictionary, in which if you happen to dream about, for example, a minotaur, it corresponds to the number 9. If you're dreaming and the first word that comes to mind when you wake up is a mine, it correlates to the number 46. And this seems strange, but it supposedly can help you to determine which numbers are likely to emerge in worldwide lotteries. After that section is what's called 90 numbers with 5 corresponding sympathetic numbers for each. So if you happen to dream of a term that correlates to the number 32, this section would give you the remaining numbers to play in lotteries worldwide, such as the Powerball with its corresponding numbers. One of the most interesting things in the entire text is what's called the pentagonal figure that shows up in many older texts. I've seen it in French texts from the 1700s, I've seen it in other Italian texts from the 1500s, and it might be way older than that. This particular figure is supposedly a key to cracking future lottery extractions. When an extraction takes place, the numbers that are drawn are placed into different parts of that figure. The numbers are then reduced, and in some cases added together, in other cases subtracted, and then considerations for the date of the next drawing are made in order to figure out what are most likely going to be the next lottery number extractions. Now obviously, it is impossible to come up with the exact numbers, and according to the author of this text, who unfortunately is an anonymous Kabbalist, claims that a knowledge of the esoteric number system and how to determine the future numbers only increases your chances of coming up with the correct numbers. Numbers represent the workings of the universe. Perhaps if we understood the pattern, we could understand what the universe would likely bring. This is the idea behind esoteric numerology. And this was the idea behind the esoteric systems that were recorded in this book, which I translated under the title, Making Millions, a 500-year-old Kabbalist Guide to Conquering Chance. I hope it helps you all in your pursuit to make money. When playing the lottery, try some of the guidelines and systems presented in this book, Making Millions, a 500-year-old Kabbalist Guide to Conquering Chance. If you have a dream, pick the most clear image that comes to mind. Then use one of the charts for kind numbers to determine the rest of the numbers to be played in lottery extractions. Either that, or try using the systems devised by Mirandola or Benincasa, Sibyls' Cabal or Zarathustra's Cabal. The golden key is another interesting possibility, as is using the 19 tables of kind numbers, which originated in 1552, but I updated them to modern dates in this new translation of this ancient text. Much about the world and the nature of reality is unknown, but nature does follow preset configurations. Stars and planets follow a pattern. It is logical that seemingly random occurrences might not be so random after all. If you enjoy playing the lottery, using this book might make your games more interesting, more fun. But don't expect to win. Don't put too much money into the games hoping for a miracle. As with everything in life, playing such games in moderation is okay. If it consumes your life or empties your wallet, it is a bad thing. Be careful and good luck.